Hello and welcome to Forgiveness in 5. I'm Susan Bolinger, and today we're going to talk about seeds. You know, the state of your mind affects the state of your heart, and this in turn affects your whole body. And the enemy takes such great delight in taking the traumatic events of our life and turning them into things that will forever change us. He wants to cause those events to build greater insecurities, even greater trauma, and kind of like into a snowball effect that would totally deter where the Lord intended for us to be. And this is something that we have to remember, that the enemy wants to take over our mind. Any opportunity that he can take a thought, a memory, and make us reflect back on a time that we just can't seem to let go. And he keeps us stuck there. It's like we're imprisoned back in that moment in time. Well, several years ago, I had the opportunity to go to a ladies' conference. And the leader of that conference asked everyone there, it was a very worshipful atmosphere. The Spirit of the Lord was welcomed there. But she asked us if we would be willing to lay ourselves out like on a surgical table and handing the Lord a scalpel and giving the Lord permission to do exploratory surgery. And that if there is anything unclean in our hearts, would we be willing to give him permission to remove those things? And so I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. And I have done that before, but it's like that particular weekend was just different. I truly took the time to get before him, just me and him one-on-one, and to let him speak to my heart and tell me things that I needed to know. And so at that moment, I prayed some of the words that you find in Psalms, like, create a clean heart in me, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. If there be any wicked way in me, cleanse me and make my path straight. And the moment that I prayed those scriptures that night, the Lord immediately took me back to when I was a 9-year-old little girl, when I had been molested. And I was a little taken aback that he would take me to that situation, because I had completely forgiven the offender in that situation. Although that person has never acknowledged what they done to me, they never apologized for what they done to me. It's just something that I've had to live with. And I have, but I have forgiven that person, and they are still in my life today. I never think about it unless I'm sharing my story like I am at this moment. And so when the Lord brought that up to me, I'm like, now hold on, Lord. You know I forgave that person for doing that to me. I don't understand why you're bringing them up. And he said, Susan, I know that I know that you have forgiven them. I know you have. But one thing that you don't realize is that when that moment happened, number one, you were a 9-year-old little girl. You didn't ask for that to happen. You didn't want that to happen. It was done to you, and it shouldn't have happened to you. And I know you forgave them, but what you don't know is that when that moment happened, the enemy planted seeds in your heart that you were unaware of. And it has brought up a harvest over and over and over throughout your life. And the seeds that were planted were seeds of, I must be bad that they done that to me. I feel dirty. I feel gross. I can't trust you because you might do something to me that I don't want you to do. I'm not good enough. I'll never be good enough. And in retrospect, after the Lord showed me this, I'm like, wow, you're right, Lord. Those were seeds that were planted, and I didn't know they were there. I didn't know how they got there. I just knew that they were there. But he told me, he said, if you will allow me to go there in your mind, in your memory, and replay that horrible moment, the moment when the incident occurred, the moment the seeds were planted, I am going to go there with you, and I'm going to pull those seeds up by the very root. And when you pull something up by the very root, then that thing can no longer have a hold on you. And I'm like, wow. Of course I want you to take that out of my heart. Of course I want you to heal me. Please, Lord, please take that from me. And he did. And I just remember, I just wept. And I let all of that go. And now I feel more free on a level that I didn't even know existed, because he pulled those seeds out. And he actually even walked me through 2 more life-altering events that happened to me throughout my life. And those were the things that the enemy used against me the most. Things that made me feel like I was less than, or that I wouldn't be good enough for ministry, or that no one would listen to me. The enemy is a liar. And of course, I know that now more than I did many years ago. And so now I don't mind getting up in his face and rebuking him. But what the Lord has done for me in this situation is that He ripped out all of those seeds of negativity, all of those lies that were replayed over and over and over in my mind. And because the Lord ripped them out, the enemy could no longer use them against me. Wow. And so, because the Lord has been able to do that for me, the garden in my heart has now been able to flourish. And so, it brings up a beautiful harvest and no more weeds. That was a pretty amazing moment. That was like an aha moment for me. And I wanted to share that with you. So if you will take the time to allow the Lord to do exploratory surgery on your heart, He can get rid of those seeds of negativity that's in your heart. And it will set you free on a level that is amazing. It's amazing. So my story is much more in depth in my book. If you ever want to get a hold of it, it's on Amazon, it's on my website, but it's called Bloom, A Process to Achieve Complete Forgiveness. And it can really change your life. And that's what the Lord wants for you. He wants to set you free. He wants us to get the past out of our way so that we can march forward into everything that He has for us. Well, I pray blessings over you today, and I will see you next time on Forgiveness in